Greetings, friends, and welcome to another ministry of the Victory Hour here on YouTube. We're glad that you showed up and you're listening and you're watching. Invite your friends. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Make a comment. It all helps in the algorithms, and that helps spread the word. I'm not interested in being popular or how many people like me. What I am interested in is that the word goes out far and wide, because I think we're talking about things that, in my view, are extremely important for us to understand, particularly as Christians in America. And right now, I want to just finish what I started last time, talking about the manipulation of the Zionist state over the Christians in this country, and their infiltration to their privacy and their desire to brainwash them. They've already done a good job of that through the Schofield Reference Bible. Not that it was the state of Israel that did that, obviously, because, well, that was before the state of Israel. But, the Zionists, there were Zionists back then, They were the ones beginning to formulate the idea of getting a state. And they were backing that man. But that's another story. I'm reading to you from the Times of Israel. It's going right to the horse's mouth. The Times of Israel. And remember, the context being, he is not a Jew, which is one outwardly. Neither is that circumcision, which is outward in the flesh. He is a Jew, which is one inwardly. One who's been, Paul says, circumcised in his heart. That's a true covenantal Jew. That's a true son of Abraham. The Jews in John chapter 8 said, "Oh, we're the sons of Abraham." And Jesus said, "No, you're not. You're trying to kill me. Abraham would never do that. You are of your father, the devil. You don't have Abraham as your spiritual father. You may have him as your biological father. I'm not that impressed with that. I'm looking at your hearts. If you were the children of Abraham, you'd believe on me. Because Abraham would have. No, you have your father, the devil. And I bless him that bless thee and curse him that curse thee does not apply to the children of the devil." Can we make that plain? And Jesus said, Paul said, Jesus exemplified and made possible what Paul said when he said that in Christ there's neither Jew nor Gentile, male nor female, nor bond nor free. If you're in Christ, you're Abraham's seed. Well, Abraham's seed received the promises given to Abraham, which are channeled through the Messiah. Correct. He says, if you are Christ, then are ye Abraham's seed and heirs according to the promise. If you are a Christian, you are the heir of all the blessings and promises God made to Abraham in their spiritual, eternal, most important context. You were born again into the kingdom of Messiah, through which the promises made to Abraham is being fulfilled even as we speak. That's a never-ending, eternal fulfilling. So I'm reading to you from the Times of Israel. The Times of Israel says, Israel to spend up to $4.1 million in bid to bolster support among Christians in Western U.S. This is from October 19th of this year. Times of Israel. Yep, the state of Israel is spending millions of dollars to brainwash Christians in Western America. Because what they've been doing in Gaza, they've been losing Christian support. And what happened with Charlie Kirk only made it worse, and everybody's a little suspicious, and people are just turning from Israel, as rightly they should. From fake Israel, I mean, the Zionist state of Israel. And so now they're going on a big campaign to win the young people back so that the next generation will continue to dump American money into the Zionist state of fake Israel. So I'm reading from the Times of Israel. They're admitting they're doing it. They're admitting they're doing it. And I'm just going to pick up where we left off. They're engaging in cognitive warfare. They're breaking into the phones of Christians And you don't know it, but they're geo-fencing your phones. And they'll have a way of geographically targeting an area. They might pick like a large Christian church and then a certain radius around it. So they'll get everybody in the church and all those around it, and they'll inundate them with Israeli propaganda on their phones. And they also geo-track them. You got your tracking on your phone? They have that. But it gets worse. Let me keep reading here in this article from the Times of Israel. And they hired this firm. They say this firm, what is it called? Good Works? Show Faith by Works, LLC. It was formed right around the time of Charlie Kirk's death and financed by Israel. It wasn't a U.S. company. I don't care what they say. It was a tool that they raved up to infiltrate the Christian community. We're told the firm has pledged to recruit pastors to write op-eds and distribute, quote, pastoral resource packages by mail, to hire social media influencers and produce television-style commercials. These are all the things they're doing with these millions of dollars to target Christians and make them Zionists. Well, you know what? Doesn't the Bible do that? What are you going to do that for? Christians follow the New Testament. If they follow the New Testament, they'll realize that we're the Israel of God, not that thing over in the Middle East. So they've got to propagandize you. They've got to convince you that Paul's understanding of the gospel is wrong. The firm has pledged to recruit pastors to write op-eds and distribute pastoral research. By the way, these pastors are being paid to brainwash you to Zionism. If you go to one of these mega churches, I'd be very, very careful. I'd be very, very careful. And to distribute pastoral resource packages. Yeah, infect other pastors with the disease that you have by mail, and hire social media influencers and produce television-style commercials, and to tour a branded trailer featuring tents, virtual reality headsets, and kiosks designed to immerse audiences in narratives of Israel's conflict with Hamas. Yeah, it's all political. For a program that would be called the October 7th Experience. The filings project 47 million ad impressions across display, audio, and connected TV channels over the course of a year. Reading from the Times of Israel. In its pitch materials, Show Faith by Works also floated the idea of recruiting celebrity spokespeople to amplify the campaign. Oh, that's what we need, celebrities. Brainwashing Christians. The fact that it's a celebrity and their mouth is moving should be more of a dissuading Christians than convincing them, but not in this atmosphere of modern Christianity. And the Israelis know that. To our shame. Yep. They floated the idea of recruiting celebrity spokespeople to amplify the campaign. A presentation slide attached to the filing lists figures such as actor Chris Pratt. I don't even know who that is. It's probably someone really famous. Chris Pratt. Mel Gibson. Now, I don't believe that Mel Gibson would go for doing this, you know. But they say Mel Gibson and Mark Wahlberg. Oh, that's a big name. You know, Wahlberg's brother. Televangelist Joel Osteen. Oh, yeah, they could tap him. He's always ready to make a buck. And former NFL quarterback Tim Tebow as potential endorsers who could bring star power to pro-Israel messaging in Christian communities. Now, they couldn't confirm many of these people would do it, but they just saw in the materials that they're targeting to see if maybe they could get them. Later on, the campaign's pro-Israel messaging is designed to speak directly to pastors and Christian audiences about Israel's biblical and historical significance. Yeah, let me give you that. It was Mystery Babylon. Read Revelation 18. Mystery Babylon is guilty of killing the prophets, and they're guilty of all the righteous blood shed on the earth. Old Covenant Jerusalem murdered the prophets. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, Jesus said, thou that murderest the prophets and stonest them which are sent unto thee. In fact, Jesus said that it is impossible for a prophet to perish outside of Jerusalem. Old Covenant Jerusalem was Mystery Babylon that persecuted the saints in the tribulation in the first century. Oh, boy. The Israelis want to give us the biblical and historical significance of the Zionist state of Israel. I don't think they're going to give you the honest answer to that or the honest information on that. No. They're going to cement the dispensationalists in their delusions and then get money out of them and support. The materials emphasize the Jewish presence in the land before 1948, the state's legitimacy, and record of protecting non-Jewish populations. Ha! And Israel's efforts to uphold civilian safety and, quote, moral superiority, end quote, in wartime. That's part of the propaganda they'll be giving. Yeah, the moral superiority of the Zionists during this campaign of genocide in Gaza. Oh, yeah, there's high degree of moral superiority there. Other talking points highlight Israel's democratic freedoms. It is its partnership with the United States and its place in the Christian New Testament. Do you want unconverted Jews who deny that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of the living God, to give you the proper explanation of what the Christian New Testament perspective is on the Zionist state of Israel? I don't think I'm ready to hear it. Suggesting a Christian message about the birthplace of Jesus. Oh, they can talk about the birthplace of Jesus. Oh, yeah, the Zionist state of Israel like to do that because that's tourist money. I said that a large people Wednesday night at prayer meeting. I said, yeah, it's like the Neil Diamond Christmas record. The Neil Diamond Christmas album. Oh, so what? He's not a Christian. He's Jewish. Well, why would Neil Diamond make a Christmas album? Well, he wants to make money. You know? Take them for all they're worth. Now, I want to read one more thing to you. And I'm going to read from an article put out by an organization called Responsible Statecraft. Now, Responsible Statecraft is not a religious organization. It's not a religious affiliated organization. It doesn't talk about theology. It's a political outlet that deals with statecraft. Responsible statecraft, that's what they call themselves. And just to give you an idea of who we're talking about, because probably most of you never heard of them, I went on their website, and you can read, go to the About section. And so that's what I did. And this is what we read. Responsible Statecraft is the online magazine of the Quincy Institute for Responsible Statecraft. It publishes outside contributors and reporters as well as staff analysis, opinion, and news to promote a positive, nonpartisan vision of U.S. foreign policy, and to critique the ideologies and interests that have mired the United States in counterproductive and endless wars and made the world less secure. Well, that sounds like a noble and good effort, okay? But it's all political, right? About focusing on foreign policy and our never-ending wars and what's this all about, and let's look at it, okay? They continue, we are committed to the highest standards of journalistic ethics, transparency, and independent thinking. Now, just to give you some examples of the personnel responsible for this organization, we have a Kelly Bivka Vlohas. She is the editorial director and the senior advisor at the Quincy Institute. And this is what she writes. This is her background, just so you understand the kind of people that are giving you this material. Previously, she served as executive editor of the American Conservative magazine, where she had been reporting and publishing regular articles on national security, civil liberties, foreign policy, veterans, and Washington politics since 2007. So she has quite a bit of experience in this area. From 2013 to 2017, Vlehos served as director of social media and online editor at WTOP News in Washington, D.C. She also spent 15 years as an online political reporter for Fox News at the channel's Washington, D.C. bureau, as well as Washington correspondent for Homeland Security Today magazine. She's very well versed on the subjects of foreign wars, foreign policy, statecraft, and international relations, okay? Now she's the senior, the editorial director and senior advisor. Now, there's other people. I can't read all these. I just want you to give an idea that we're not talking about it's just some hillbilly preacher wanting to get across his theology but pretending it's a political... No. Well, here's one. Jim Loeb is a senior advisor and contributing editor at Responsible Statecraft. He served as chief of the Washington Bureau of Interpress Service from 1980 to 1985, and again from 1989 to 2015. Best known for his coverage of the neoconservative movement's influence on U.S. foreign policy, he directed Loblog.com, which focused primarily on U.S. Middle East policy since 2007. See, these are people that are well-versed in this specific field. In 2015, Loblog became the first weblog to win American Academy of Diplomacy's Arthur Ross Media Award for distinguished reporting and analysis on foreign affairs. Proud native of Seattle, Jim graduated with highest honors in history from Williams College and received a law degree from the University of California at Berkeley. And on goes, it's these kind of people, okay? That's enough of that. These kind of people, I'm reading from their organization, Responsible Statecraft, which is all about foreign policy and politics by people who are in that field. It's not a Christian outlet at all. They write an article from October 15th of this year, 2025. It's entitled, If You Don't Believe What I Read to You from This Other Article, which came from the Times of Israel. So I don't think it was some sort of anti-Semitic rag that was just meant to get at the Jews. No. The Times of Israel is what I read. About them infiltrating the phones of Christians to manipulate their thought processes about the fake state of Israel. Now, I'm reading from Responsible Statecraft, and the title of their article is, Israel Wants to Pay U.S. Pastors a Stipend to Spread the Word. Israel wants to pay U.S. pastors. Isn't that enough for you? Israel wants to pay U.S. pastors a stipend to spread the word. What, the gospel of Jesus Christ? No, I don't think so. And then the byline or the subtitle, Christian parishioners caught up in the church's geo-fencing project react to the propagandizing and religious manipulation. So here we go. A newly crafted firm called Show Faith by Works, which I told you about last time, is embarking on a geo-fencing campaign to target Christian churches and colleges across the South American Southwest with pro-Israel advertisements. The pastors and congregations themselves are seemingly unaware of this campaign, and some have concerns with Israel's methods to target Christians. According to the firm's filing under the Foreign Agents Registration Act, Show Faith by Works will, quote, geo-fence the actual boundaries of every major church in California, Arizona, Nevada, and Colorado, and all Christian colleges during worship times. Let me just stop there. Can you believe this? Here's Israel using this so-called American company, Show Faith by Works, financing them, supporting them, making them exist, and they're geo-fencing the Christians in America, and they've set up their attack programs to geo-fence your phones in every major church in California, Arizona, Nevada, and Colorado. Every major church of a decent enough size, they're going to propagandize them. And all Christian colleges during worship times. Yeah. And then, quote, track attendees and continue to target them with ads, end quote, on behalf of Israel. Yeah. They're going to track the Christians. They're going to watch where they go and what they do. They're going to send them propaganda in a cognitive warfare program to brainwash them, to continue to support their genocidal fantasies. I shouldn't say fantasies. What they've been doing. But you can back that as a Christian, right? You follow the Prince of Peace, you can back their genocide, right? By the way, I'm not a supporter of Hamas, which was really, in essence, the creation of the Zionist state of Israel. I'm not a supporter of the Muslim Brotherhood. I'm not a supporter of all these radical Islamic organizations that are just bloodthirsty killers and want to overcome the whole world through coercion and violence. But that doesn't matter. What they're doing is wrong. And they stole the land to begin with. Well, because the British said they could? Yeah, what kind of reasoning is that? Let some foreign country come in and say, well, you know, this group of people over here, as foreigners, can come in the United States and take the state of Rhode Island where Clayville is. You better not try it. You know, some of those Palestinians were Christians that were killed, and Israel killed them. The Christian community in Palestine gets completely ignored by the press, as they do everywhere when they're killed and slaughtered, which is happening all over the place now. They're going to track attendees and continue to target them with ads on behalf of Israel. We're told the geofencing campaign is part of a larger $3.2 million contract that also includes trying to hire celebrity spokespeople and paying pastors to produce content. Can you trust your minister? Do you know he might be getting a little bit of side money from Israel to propagandize you? Did you know that? Responsible Statecraft reached out to hundreds of churches in California, Arizona, Nevada, and Colorado that were listed as potential targets of the geofencing campaign. None that responded were aware of the campaign. Well, yeah, they don't really want you to know it's them doing it. Better off, need to know basis. Later on, the project manager of the operation, Chad Schnitger, explained in an email to Responsible Statecraft that the ads may include, quote, invitations for Christians to visit one of our upcoming mobile museum exhibits, or to go to our website to learn more about the program, or to visit Israel with your church. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Don't do it. Don't do it. The firm's pitch deck described the ads as, quote, pro-Israel and anti-Palestinian, end quote. That's how they describe themselves. I'm reading from Responsible Statecraft. In an interview with Responsible Statecraft, Megan Iorio, senior counsel at the Electronic Privacy Information, described geofencing as, quote, a privacy nightmare, end quote. Iorio explained that data brokers vacuum up data from various applications that use location services and then will either sell that data to marketing firms or offer marketing tools themselves. Then users with location services enabled on your phones might, for instance, see an H&M advertisement if they walk within a certain radius of an H&M store. So they're going to make money off you, too. Israel. You happy about that? Micah, a mechanical engineer, I'm skipping a bunch of stuff. Michael, a mechanical engineer in Colorado Springs, has been conducting outreach to pastors and local newspapers in order to raise awareness that seven local churches were listed in the document as targets of the geo-fencing campaign. And then he says, quote, what jumps out immediately is how the entire document talks about Christians as targets to be manipulated. This, he says, this isn't respectful outreach. It's warfare language, he wrote. Now listen to this. I'm sorry I'm doing so much reading, but I just got to get this information out to you. I feel it's important for Christians to know you're being used. Don't dishonor the name of Christ by being used for the cause of evil, and then go and support that in the name of Christ. Not good. One of Micah's main concerns is that the firm is paying pastors on behalf of Israel. Show Faith by Works pitch deck includes a plan to give stipends for, quote, according to their own material, individual guest pastors, bilingual pastors, or pastors who match target demographics to record messages based on content creation targets, end quote. Micah says that this, quote, creates financial conflicts of interest where religious leaders become financially dependent on foreign government messaging, compromising their independence and integrity, end quote. Well, if these ministers are becoming financially dependent on this money, then this little stipend might not be so little. And I read where this organization, the Israelis, through this U.S. organization, supposedly U.S. organization, seemed to be enraved just for this purpose, right in the nick of time, and funded by you-know-who, that they're paying social media influencers $7,000 a whack when they promote the state of Israel in the way that's acceptable to them. $7,000 a shot. I don't know what these ministers are getting paid, but it seems like they can become financially dependent on this money. So they say a stipend. Yeah, what kind of stipend are we talking about? A penny is too much. Yeah, they're going to compromise themselves. These ministers. Asa, Micah's brother, attends Scottdale Bible Church in Arizona, one of the churches listed by Show Faith by Works. Asa said that Show Faith by Works campaign is a reaction to Israel losing the support of America's youth. Quote, this entire project is an attempt to regain the attention and hearts and support of Generation Z through the use of religious manipulation. Oh, look, I'm on my last page. I got to end here. I'm skipping things. That church in Arizona, but it's every larger church in all these different states that they listed: Arizona, Colorado, California, and all the Christian colleges. They're being targeted. Their phones are being targeted. And if they have their systems on, they're going to know their locations, and then they can sell information to marketers. But they're going to use it. Their purpose of using it is to use it to propagandize the Christians while they're in their churches. They'll see, oh, this person goes there. Okay, we can target them heavy. Last thing I'll read. Still this article from Responsible Statecraft. The geo-fencing campaign will be overseen by Iran Sayovic, the chief of staff at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Israel. The chief of staff of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Israel is going to oversee this propagandizing of American Christians by getting into their cell phones and then propagandizing them. Shayovic is spearheading an initiative called Project 545, which he describes as a campaign to, quote, amplify Israel's strategic communication and public diplomacy efforts, end quote. Shayovic is also the point of contact for Brad Parscale, who is Trump's former campaign manager, who is coordinating efforts to train ChatGPT on behalf of Israel and integrate pro-Israel messaging into conservative media. Everybody's being played like a fool. On a good note, we read some states have taken action against geofencing as a practice. In June, Oregon passed a law that prohibits the sale of precise geolocation information, following a similar provision passed by Maryland last year. Well, good for them. That should be across every state. If you wish Godspeed to those who abide not in the doctrine of Christ, you become partakers of their evil deeds. Can I repeat that again? If you wish Godspeed, I'll bless him that bless thee, curse him that curse thee, we're told. If you wish Godspeed to those who abide not in the doctrine of Christ, you become partakers of their evil deeds. You say, Pastor Gallagher, that is a horrible thing to say. Well, let me read to you from 2 John, starting at verse 9. Whosoever transgresseth and abideth not in the doctrine of Christ. What is the doctrine of Christ? That Jesus is the Christ, the Son of a living God, the very confession of the Apostle Peter. Whosoever transgresseth and abideth not in the doctrine of Christ. Does the Zionist state of Israel abide in the doctrine of Christ? Do they confess that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of a living God? No. Whosoever transgresseth and abideth not in the doctrine of Christ hath not God. Well, how could they be God's chosen people? He that abideth in the doctrine of Christ, he hath both the Father and the Son. If there come any unto you, and bring not this doctrine, receive him not into your house. Now he's talking about they come into the assembly, because the assemblies then met in houses, right? They hadn't had time to build buildings, right? They were still living under Judaism in the transition period between the cross and 70 AD. But if there come any unto you that bring not this doctrine, receive him not into your house, neither bid him Godspeed. Don't bid him Godspeed. That doesn't mean for us today we should be mean to Jews and don't wish them well. We should pray for them and ask that the Lord would change their hearts and give them the salvation that can come only in Christ, that they would know love, joy, and peace and be part of the brotherhood of Christ. But we don't make common cause with the enemies of Christ. If there come any unto you that bring not this doctrine that Jesus is the Christ, receive him not into your house, neither bid him Godspeed. You don't say, I'll bless him that bless thee, that curse him that curse thee. I'll bless those that hate Christ and deny him, and curse those who hate Christ and deny him. He says, if any bring not this doctrine, receive him not into your house, neither bid him Godspeed. For he that biddeth him Godspeed, he that does what the Christian Zionists say, oh, we better bless Israel because they're God's chosen people. He that biddeth him Godspeed is partaker of his evil deeds. It's serious stuff. My best friend when I was in high school, he was a Jewish fellow. Wasn't a Christian. I wish he was. I was a Christian then. I tried to witness to him, but, he was not interested. He one time came to me to a Christian thing they had done at Tremont Temple in Boston. We took the church bus, and he came with me. And he heard the gospel, and some personal workers came up to him and really pigeonholed him. Do you know Christ your Savior? And he was sweating bullets. He was looking at me scared. He didn't know what to do. But a long and short story of it was he never did come to know Christ, and I've lost contact with him. He became a Marine. He was a drill sergeant his whole life. I've tried to find him. I always wanted to reconnect with him. He could be overbearing. He was a jock, and he was like, if anyone thought they were any stronger than him or more skillful than him, he wanted to fight them. He was wicked over competitive. But he kind of amused me, and we were really best of friends. And lots of people didn't like him because he's just too intense. But, I felt bad for him. I thought a lot of that came from some insecurities. He was a talented guy. And it's just about anything he did physically, he would beat the other guy. You want a weightlifting competition, you want a basketball competition, a football competition, an arm wrestling competition, you name it, anything, And I thought, what's he ever going to do for work? He did, and he found the job that was made just for him. He became a drill sergeant. He did it his whole life. Well, good for him. He found his niche, and I'm happy. I wish I could still connect with him. Mike, if you're still out there, would you please contact me? I don't hold any animosity towards the Jewish people, but I have to hold to what John is saying. As Christians, we don't make common cause with the enemies of Christ. Benjamin Netanyahu is an enemy of Christ. Don't the Christians know that? He that biddeth him Godspeed is partaker of his evil deeds. And they want to remove that kind of thinking from your mind through your phone. And the Zionist state of Israel is doing that right now through its manipulation program of geo-fencing American Christians in the west of the United States. And I thought, you ought to know. All right, next time we come back, I'm going to have something posted here. I don't know what it'll be. That has to do with the Reformation. Because by the time you hear that, the Reformation Day has already come and gone. It's October 31st. But I don't want it to have it just come and go and not say anything about it. But I felt, YouTube is not so time sensitive. So we'll do it next time. And then after that one posting on the Reformation, we will get back to the idea Satan no longer exists according to the Bible. And I'm done going through time text to prove that. We're going on to other texts to show Satan no longer exists according to the Bible. But now I've got to go. Jim Gallagher reminding you in the words of our blessed Lord and Savior, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.